Hello, my name is Sally and I am one of the makeup artists working with Look Fabulous Forever, which is a skincare, hair care and makeup range specifically designed for older faces. Well, today you have definitely given me a challenge. We asked for a survey of the Super Troopers and on Instagram to see who you would like me to do the makeup similar to from the recent Oscars awards in Hollywood. And you all chose Andie Macdowell. So you would like me to try and recreate a similar look using Look Fabulous Forever's makeup range to Andie Macdowell. Andie is stunning and she looked flawless. And I don't know if you saw her, she had a beautiful black dress on and her eyes were actually really different from the eye look that I normally wear. She had these beautiful sort of blue, but with sort of a lot of shimmer and really dark in her inner rims of her eyes to really define her eyes. And she had lovely blusher and lips. So you've given me a challenge. I like a challenge, and this will make you laugh. So when I found out who I was going to do only last night, I was actually playing a game of tennis and managed to somehow, a ball came at me and I managed to move out of the way and hit myself in the face with my racket and my ball. So last night I was there with a bag of peas on my cheek so that I didn't have a completely black eye this morning. It's slightly bruised and very slightly swollen. So another challenge, why not just, add in something extra. So my fault entirely for not getting out of the way from the tennis ball. Okay, so the first thing, so I've got no makeup on at all. I've pushed my hair back a little bit like Andie's, not nearly as lovely as hers, but I've tried to recreate a similar sort of frame for my face. And I have already prepared my skin. So last night, whilst nursing my sore bruise, I decided that I would use the beautiful gentle face exfoliator to just get rid of any dead skin cells. And I also put the hydrating clay mask on and left that on about 10 minutes, which is a really nice thing to do if you're happen to be going to the Oscars the next day. It's really good to prepare your skin really well. So today I have cleansed my skin with the Perfectly Clean Daily Cleanser. And I have also used my beautiful Hydration Hold Serum. I've just popped a little bit on before putting on my Smooth the Face Day Cream as well. So I've moisturised my face and I've let that all sink in before starting the makeup application. So the first product I'm going to use, because I'm going to be at the Oscars, is the beautiful Essential Smooth Like Silk Face Primer. Andie wanted to keep her skin looking good all night, so I'm sure she probably used a primer. So this is what I'm going to do. Take a little bit of primer on my hand and pop this all over my face. So this just means that my open pores and fine lines, of which I have far more than Andie Macdowell. So there we go, we put the primer on. So this will basically mean that all my fine lines will just sort of be smoothed over so that when I put my foundation on, it will go onto a beautiful smooth surface and it will last all night under those lights and just go on better. So I'm going to use today the Continuous Cover Foundation in shade number 2. I'm going to mix it because I want a slightly luminous, slightly iridescent look as well. I love using a little bit of Light Look Beauty Balm number 1 with this. So I'm going to just add just a tiny bit of Light Look Beauty Balm onto my hand. And then just to finish the concoction, I add a little bit more of the primer. And now I'm going to take my foundation brush. So this is my brush number 3. And mix them together on my hand. And then I'm just going to apply. So really important to get a good base. Andie's skin looked really fresh and flawless. So with my bruised eye from my tennis match, I've got a little bit of work to do to achieve the Oscar red carpet look. I'll do my best. Put a little bit under my eyes. I'm going to be putting lots of concealer around my eyes today. So I'm just making sure that the foundation goes to the area, right to the edge. You don't want any little harsh lines. What I like to do when I finish is just to pat the colour, the warmth of my hands, just to make sure that it's really well blended and it looks just like very seamless. What I'm going to do now is I need a little bit of help with concealer to look as flawless as Andie did. So I am going to use the Cover to Cover concealer, the lovely creamy concealer. This is shade number 2, and I'm going to take my concealer brush number 4, and I'm going to work on areas where there's darkness, where there's a little bit of more discoloration, where I need a bit of extra help. So I'm going to put some into the corner of my eyes, also just around the darkness in my eye area, and I sort of stipple it on and then use my ring finger to tap it in. In this area of my nose, I've got some broken capillaries that I just need to have a little bit more help with. Hopefully looking a little bit more even than it did when I first started. Not quite Oscar ready yet, but we're on our way. Now I want to set my my base, so I'm going to use the beautiful sheer translucent powder. If I'm going to be underneath those Hollywood Oscar lights, I don't want to go too shiny. I want my makeup to last, so I am going to use my big fat lovely powder brush number 1, and I'm going to put a little bit just on the outer corners of my eyes as well, which will stop spillage when I do my bright blue makeup. I'm now going to do I'm going to use 2 more primers. So the first one I'm going to use is the beautiful Smooth Out Eye Prime, this one. Going to be important for me because I'm going to do quite a strong eye makeup look. I don't want it to crease, I want it just to sit beautifully and not crease and not move. So I'm going to take a little bit out and just pop it on my eyelids. I quite like to blend it in with the concealer brush, but you can use clean fingers if you want to, just like this. So what this does is it will take away any discoloration which I have on my eyes. I've got quite a bit of sort of little veins and discolorations on my eyelids, so it will remove that and make it a really clean base to put my eye makeup on, and it will then stop my makeup from creasing as the evening wears on. You don't need too much of this product, and it's really important to put it onto clean, dry, oil-free eyelids. So make sure there's no eye makeup remover, oily eye makeup remover residue or eye cream residue on your eyelid when you put it on. You can even put a little bit in that inner corner if you want. That is my Smooth Out Eye Prime. And while I remember, I'm going to use my 3rd primer. So I've used my face primer, my eye primer, and I'm now going to use the beautiful Never Feather Lip Prime, just so that I remember to do it. So I'm going to put that just on the outer edge of my lips. There we go. Ready for the lip look later. So we're now going to start on the eyes, which are quite intense, quite blue, quite tricky to do, but I'll give it a go. So the first thing I'm going to use is the powder blue, which is quite a pretty blue, as a base. And I'm going to apply that with my eyeshadow brush number 7. So let's put this on all over my lids. It's funny how colours come round and come back into fashion. A few years ago, people would say, oh, I'm never going to wear that colour, ever. But it's back, it's on the catwalk, bright blue. So quite a pretty colour actually, this one. A bit retro. I'm just bringing it up to just sort of above the socket line area. It's quite nice to use a lighter base just so that you don't go straight on with a really strong colour. You kind of know where you're going. Okay, now this is a bit bold. I'm going to go for, this looks quite scary, cobalt blue, but needs must, and I'm going to put this, again, I'm going to just go over and come out quite as bright as it looks. And it's got quite a bit of blue sort of in this area. So I'm going to bring it in a little bit further into the inner corner than I might normally. And then I'm going to bring it all over and just again lift. When you're doing something that's a little bit wild and a little bit different, this is always the time when people panic when they're just putting their eyeshadow on, because it always looks very strange. And I always say, just go with it for a bit, because until you've got the rest of your eyes on and your face and your blusher, you can't possibly tell what it's going to look like. Andie's eyes are quite sort of silvery shimmery blue. Look Fabulous Forever have an amazing product called Sheer Brilliance Lid Colour in Silver Mist, and I am going to be a little bit bold. I don't normally put a lot of this product on, but today I'm going to put a bit more. So I'm going to basically bring it in the middle, bring it up a little bit, so you can see that eye looks more shimmery than the other one. But Andie's look is quite a shimmery look, and you might think that you can't use shimmer on older eyes. I think if it's used well for evening, I probably wouldn't do this look in the day to go to the supermarket, maybe, but for an evening, special evening look, I love the Sheer Brilliance eye colours. I think they are so pretty. I'm going to put some underneath in a moment, but we haven't quite got there yet. Now, eyeliner. Andie's eyes are really quite dark, and she has, I think, used a black liner on her inner rims, both top and bottom. So Look Fabulous Forever don't do black. We do a soft grey. We don't do black because often as you get older, black can look quite harsh. I mean, Andie carries it off beautifully, absolutely beautifully. But often it looks sometimes nicer to just go a little bit softer with either a brown or a grey. So I am, to start with, going to use the beautiful soft grey soft eyeliner, and I am going to put that on my top lids just to thicken the lash area. Underneath as well, just outline a little bit. Andie's got quite a lot of blue actually underneath her eyes, so I'm going to replicate that as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back, taking the cobalt blue. I'm going to use the wedge brush, and I'm going to just bring it underneath. So this is lower than I normally take a colour, but Andie's got that sort of softened blue look underneath her eyes. I'm now going to go back with charcoal, which is dark grey shadow, and I am going to put that over. So this will define my lashes even more. So if you don't want to use the grey eyeliner, you can just use this. I like to use both. I'm trying to make my lashes look a bit thicker, and this is a good way to do it. Now, Andie, as I told you earlier, had put in her waterline, she had put black. I am actually going to use the dark brown upper tight line. Difficult to talk while you do this. Again, will make my lashes look a little bit thicker. She's got a little bit just on that sort of inner corner, and she's also got it on her lower lash waterline. Darken that. You see that has darkened the inner for quite a dramatic dark look. What I'm now going to do is I am going to use the Silver Mist again, this one, and just a tiny bit under my eyes. Don't normally put it under my eyes, but today I'm going to. Taking it onto my hand, and then again using my wedge brush and just softening, just to get just a bit of shimmer like Andie has just around this area. I'm going to put a little bit more just in here. This is such a pretty colour. I look very weird because I don't have any mascara and I don't have my brows, so still not ready, not finished. So what I'm going to do now is to use my favourite product. I love this one. So this is called Instant Bright Highlight. I call it the magic pen. And I'm going to put this, before I do my brows, just under. I'm going to dot it under the highest part of my brow, like that. And then I'm going to take my concealer brush again and just blend it so that there's a little bit of light under the brows. I'm going to put a little bit just on my cheekbone area. Tap that in. I'm going to do a stripe down my nose as well. And I'm going to put a little bit just above my brows and into my frown lines, just to soften my frown lines. Andie Macdowell doesn't have any frown lines. I sadly do. A little bit on my Cupid's bow. This is such a pretty product because when I turn, it just means I've got that little bit of luminosity, which is so pretty for a nighttime look and a daytime look actually. I wear it in the day. It just makes you look really fresh and luminous without looking shiny and scary. Andie's brows are a lot darker than mine, and they're also a different shape to mine. So I am going to be a little bit bolder with my brows than I normally am. I'm going to just use the spoolie brush, number 6, to shape them a bit. And I'm going to use Bring Back Brow shape, this one, in brown. So you shake it, it's got a little ball bearing in it to shake the product up, and then take a little bit out. It's got a little brush, and I am going to just do some rather scary looking strokes because I'm going to do it a little bit stronger than I normally do. Little feathery strokes. And these are quite sort of straight, her brows. So I'm actually going to bring mine up and try and change the shape a little bit. They're a bit closer to her nose than mine, so I'm going to do that too. It's amazing what you can do with this product. You can totally change the shape of your brows. So the secret is to do it and then to soften it. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave it like this. So let's just do this side. So hers are almost sort of straight up here. Mine are not like that at all. So I'm just now going to take the spoolie brush. Looks a bit weird at the moment. So those are much stronger brows than I normally do. And then what I'm going to do also is to take just a tiny bit of taupe, which is another matte shade, just to put even more colour into them. But rather than adding on the dark of Bring Back Brow, this is a tiny bit softer. So I like often to do both if I'm trying to create a strong brow look. And I'm using the wedge brush again to achieve that. So I'm going to now give myself some lashes because my lashes are definitely quite fair at the moment. So I need some I'm going to use black. I'm going to use waterproof in case I cry with joy or excitement at my Oscar celebrations, which is highly possible. So I'm going to use my eyelash curlers to start with because I want my lashes to be as glam as they can possibly be. Gosh, that made a difference. I can actually see some lashes now. Amazing. So I'm now going to use my black waterproof Live Lash Mascara through the top ones. It already looks a little bit more together by putting mascara on. I love this product, and you can build it. If you want more, you just build it up. It doesn't go cloggy or bitty, it doesn't have those filaments in it. I actually really love the combination of the cobalt blue with the silver mist. So thank you to Andie, because I would not have tried that probably. Adds a real pretty shimmer to the cobalt blue. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit more of the silver mist because I really like the look. A little bit more there. Sometimes it's nice to go back once you've got your mascara on and add a bit more. And Andie's got some just under here. Just gives your eyes a pop of lightness. Very different from how I started already. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go back with a little bit of concealer under the eye. If you've done something dramatic around the eyes, it's often good just to make sure when you finish that there are no splodges, and a little bit of concealer will just clean anything up. Now I need to create the really pretty blusher look that Andie has got on. So for that today, I'm going to use the beautiful Desert Rose cream blush. So I am going to put it, she's got quite a good colour of blusher, quite a reasonable amount. So again, maybe a little bit more than I would normally put on because she's going to be under the lights. She needs a bit of colour, and I'm just going to blend that in with my blusher brush number 2. And I feel that Andie has got a little bit of warmth as well, so I'm going to use the Enduring Summer Bronze, this one. And I'm going to go over my blusher with just a little bit of bronzer, just to give me a nice healthy glow. I'm also going to use it on my neck and just a little bit on my jawline and in my temples. Fraction up here just to look sun-kissed as well. Such a pretty colour this. It goes with, well, everyone can wear it. It doesn't come out quite as scary as it looks, but it's beautiful. So I now need to do some lips. And I have chosen to put the beautiful lip liner, defining lip liner in Roseberry over my lips. So just get a little bit out. And she's got such beautiful shaped lips. Hers are thicker than mine on the top. So I've outlined in Roseberry and now I'm going to fill it in. I love this colour. It's a sort of pink with a hint of peach in it. I'm going to use a tiny little bit of Tulip Pink lipstick. Not very much, just a little bit. A little bit more colour. I'm going to just block that. Add, again, just the tiniest amount of gloss. I'm going to use Gorgeous Gloss Lip Shine, the clear one, just a tiny bit in the middle. Not very much. So at this point, I'm going to just take my powder and my big powder brush again and just give myself that little bit of extra help for the evening so that everything stays beautifully in place. I'm now going to put my jewels on. Sadly, these are not real diamonds, but my Diamante earrings, a little bit like Andie's. Not quite the same, but very pretty, very glitzy. My hair. And I'm going to change, ready for the Oscars. So I've got my Oscar dress. It's not quite the same again, but a token gesture to the beautiful Andie Macdowell. And there we have the finished look, ready for the Oscars. I've tried to create some of the blue and the shimmer that Andie Macdowell did with her beautiful eyes. And I hope you've enjoyed watching today, and I hope you enjoyed the Oscars if you watched them, and enjoyed watching what everybody was wearing and their makeup. If you've got any questions or any comments about the look, about trying colours that you've never tried before and mixing colours, if you've used the shimmer, the Sheer Brilliance lid colours, let us know how you got on with those and whether you enjoyed using them, because they are really fun for an evening look, I think. Thank you so much for watching, and I really look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.